Hello, it's Mr. Wishahi again, and this lesson is going to be talking about box plots. I'm going to show you how to create a box plot and how to read one. A box plot really is just summarizing a set of numbers. It's showing you how spread out they are, where their median is, and then their quartiles, which I'm going to talk to you about here in a moment. This is an example of a box plot. Obviously it doesn't have any numbers in it, but that's what you want it to look like. So let's do an example. So here I've got two sets of numbers. We're going to focus on set number A. You see I've got 11 values there. The first thing you want to do when creating a box plot is go ahead and put them in order of least to greatest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. If you have repeating numbers, make sure you list them on there as many times as you see them in the original set of data. Okay, so now we have listed in order of least to greatest. The first thing I like to find are my range, or my maximum and minimum values. That's the lowest value and largest value. So number one, that's going to be my lowest value, or your minimum. The number 10, that's going to be my max value, or greatest value. The next thing you want to do is find your median. Remember, the median is the middlemost number in a set. So if you start working your way from the outside and work your way in, you're going to find that 5 is the middlemost number. That's going to be your median. Okay, so those are the three numbers I like to find first. I'm going to go ahead and plot those in my number line. So my lowest value, that's going to be 1. So I'm going to plot that with a dot. My max value, or greatest value, is going to be 10. I'm going to plot that with a dot. So I've got my minimum, maximum. My median, 5. I'm going to do that one a little different. I'm going to plot that with a line. Okay? Next, you want to find your lower and upper quartile. So all that really is telling you to find two more medians. If you notice, once we found this middle, we split our number set into two halves. So you're just finding the medians of each one of those halves. So let's focus on our bottom half. So the median number of these 5 down before 5 is going to be 3. That's our lower quartile, also called first quartile, or Q1. The median of the upper half, that's all the numbers above 5, that's going to be 8. That'll be my upper quartile, or the third quartile, Q3. So now, same thing, I'm going to plot those on my number line, but I'm going to use lines since they're medians. So my lower quartile will be 3. My upper quartile, or third quartile, will be 8. So now with the 3 lines, you're going to create a box. You make a rectangle with those. And then I'm going to draw a line connecting to my minimum and maximum value. So I've got a box and 2 lines. What each one of these sections, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, is considered a percent. It's a quarter of all my numbers. So here's the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. Some sections are more spread out than others, but each one is supposed to be 25% of your number set. Okay, let's do the second example. So again, put them in order from least to greatest. You want to identify your lowest value. Your max value, or greatest value. Your median. This one's a little tricky because we have an even number in our set. So we can't have two medians. Even though 4 and 5 both fall in the middle, we can't have two numbers in the median, so I've got to get the average of the two, or better yet, the number that comes in between those two, and that'll be 4.5. So you could add those two numbers together and divide them by 2 to get the median. So 4.5 will be the median of the set. So I'm going to go to my graph and plot my minimum value or my lowest value. It's going to be 1, same as the first set. I got my max value. Now I'm going to plot my median. So 4.5, that's going to come right between the 4 and the 5. Draw a line there. Okay, now I just got to find my two quartiles, my first quartile, or lower quartile, and my second quartile. Or I'm sorry, my third quartile, which will be my upper quartile. Okay, so I'm looking at all the numbers before my median. So anything before 4.5, so it's going to include 1 through 4. The middle of those numbers, or the median of those numbers, will be 2. That'll be the lower quartile. I'm going to look at all the numbers after 4.5. That'll be 6. That's my upper quartile. And I'm going to graph those. So 2 will be my lower quartile, or first quartile. You'll hear them referred to in different ways. My upper quartile is number 6. And then we make a box out of them. Connect your points. So obviously they look a little different. Even though they have the same range, you could tell they have different medians. I could just look at this one. Oh, that's the median. This one has a higher median than set A or set B. Set A, set B. They have the same range, and then they're spread out a little differently too. There's a bigger spread or range in the upper quartile between the two. So that's how you could read them, just by glancing at the different values. So if you think about it, all you really did was you identified 5 different numbers: our median, our lowest value, our highest value, and our 2 quartiles. This will be quartile 1 or lower quartile, and this will be quartile 3, our upper quartile. Each one of these is 25%. So, for instance, let's say these were test scores, and you scored, the highest score was a 10. If you scored a 9, that means you fell in the top, you're in the top 25% of this group. Same thing for set B. If you scored a 9, you'd be top. Also, if you scored a 7, you'd be in the top 25%. So each one of these is 25%. A quarter. So let's look at these two examples. Let's say you scored a 2. You'd be in the bottom 25% of Class A, but you wouldn't be in the bottom, you'd be in the second 25%, the bottom 50%. So that's just a way of reading box plots. It's quite easy. You just have to put them in order, find your 5 values, and then graph them. So going back to our example, we identified our median, we defined our lowest and highest values, and our 2 quartiles. Okay, you can find the range of the set of numbers just by taking your maximum value, your highest value, and subtracting, and doing that minus your minimum value, and that'll give you the range of the spread. Okay guys, give it a shot. Good luck.